The last time I tried to beat RLCraft, the MODPACK's bosses put me in the dirt, which was kind of embarrassing, but the lesson I took away from that video was mainly this. You can't always win, but you can control how you react when you fail. So I edited the playthrough and posted it anyway, even though it didn't have the nice, clean, victorious ending that I wanted. I'm Cosmo, and the reason RLCraft is such a significant mod pack to me is because it's the pack that got me into modded Minecraft and content creation, and I used to speedrun one of the older versions of it. Was I ever good? No. Not really, but I know the pack pretty well, and I am nothing if not a stubborn guy. I will beat Rehovart and the rest of this pack if it is the last thing I do. And because you guys have repeatedly voiced to me that you prefer episodic content and are burned out on 100 days style, welcome to episode 1. So I spawned in and was immediately just floored by how pretty the biome around me was. When I first asked about what Dregora was and what the difference was between it and regular RLCraft, it was described to me as RLCraft but with different world generation. And I later learned just how untrue that was. Anyway, when I spawned in, I ran around and stumbled across one of these outposts, which I used to get started. Looting the structure was nice, as always, but mostly it provided good shelter in a rather cold biome. And it offered a lot of nice stuff, including healing supplies. It also meant I had a place to set my spawn, and I could completely skip through the evil flint stages that usually mark the start of an RLCraft playthrough. I went straight to stone tools, and was even able to smelt down some of the wolf armor I had looted from the structure. One of my favorite things to do in RLCraft is smelt down extra armor so I can reuse the ingots for other stuff, even though thanks to the leveling system I can't really use it yet, but let's not think about that now. I went about making the tried and true rapier, which did not go well at first. If you don't know much about RLCraft, the tools, weapons, and armor can come with a quality that dictates any buffs or debuffs the item will give. I don't think you need me to explain that clumsy is not a good one. But it could be worse. It could be broken. Oh! Well, another thing to note about RLCraft is that there are some teleportation items. Early game, the best things for this will be the recall potion and the wormhole potion. Recall takes you back to your spawn point, and wormhole lets you send a TP request to another player. My friend Cream found one and popped it so we could progress a bit together. Multiplayer RLCraft can be extra hard in the beginning if you don't set up a spawn waystone or disable the randomized spawn point thing, but wormhole potions are one of the easier ways to meet up with other players if you can find them in a loot chest. Also, I thought I had what I needed to make a backpack thanks to the structure, but I realized I didn't have the wool I needed, so despite having skipped the majority of the flint stage, I did wind up making a knife to go get plant fibers and convert them into plant string and then into wool, which allowed me to make a backpack for myself, which I shoved all of my inventory into. And then I did make another one, which I gave to Cream. I ran over to the armory section of the structure, grabbing all of the smeltable items and bringing them back to my furnace for the same treatment as the rest of the loot. But once that was done, Cream and I went out exploring. We planned to use the structure as our base for now, but in order to progress in RLCraft, you need XP. You mainly get that from killing passive or low-level mobs or from battle towers if you're careful, especially in the early game. Oh, but then I discovered a wonderful mechanic in this mod pack: radiation. Yay! Can't wait to explore nuclear craft in a mod pack called RLCraft. Surely nothing will go wrong.
I need coal. Oh, I found coal.
Sprint.
Oh, shit.
I'm being attacked by a Joust Alpha, but he doesn't know that I'm the real Alpha. I had to kill the Joust to establish dominance.
Okay, where the fuck are you?
I'm the real Alpha. Well, we found the source of the radiation. I have a hunch it was probably this bunker with the radiation warning signs on it, but what do I know? We opted to not explore it for now since we didn't really know how the mod pack handled radiation at the time and frankly did not want to find out the hard way. And there was a waystone nearby, which would make returning home from exploring so much easier in the future. It's a really big deal early game to have a waystone somewhat close to your home base, especially since they aren't movable in RLCraft, and the only way to make them requires nether stars. So we began our adventure into this mesa biome, killing a Joust, and then, well, I went to kill this rock, but lagged at the worst moment ever and wound up with my first death. Sadly, way earlier than I was hoping, but thankfully it wasn't far from the waystone at all. It's also not that surprising since I was already low from being afflicted with the parasite debuff for drinking dirty water a bit before. I will also say I included 2 extra mods in this playthrough: simple voice chat and corpse. I personally feel RLCraft is best played with some sort of grave mod, though if I were doing this solo, I would probably not include one, or I would configure it differently, so it would like drop the items after another death just so it remains challenging. But since I'm playing with other people, I'm willing to not go that extra mile. Ultimately, they should be able to enjoy playing too, and I don't mind compromising a bit for others. Wow, this is really pretty. This biome kind of looks like a burger biome.
Burger.
Cream, look, it's the burger biome. Oh.
The new.
I think my game just crashed.
Bro.
Funnily enough, this crash will impact me for quite a long time before I piece together what's actually causing it. To save you some time if you're having a similar issue, per the RLCraft Discord, there's some weird issue that specifically impacts 50 series graphics cards and shaders on Dregora. And guess what graphics card I have? A 5070. Only thanks to a brand deal I got on TikTok a few months ago, by the way. I am way too broke to afford a card like that. So if you find you experience rather random crashing on this mod pack and you're running shaders, plus you have a 50 series card in your system, just disable the shaders, it will fix the problem. Anyway, I went to eat and then I got back on to continue exploring. The world generation in this mod pack is genuinely so interesting, but the biomes expose you to rather extreme temperatures that make early game exploration especially difficult. I died to these evil bunnies when seeking shelter from the heat, for example. Getting my stuff back took more than one try, unfortunately. It took a few. But I did eventually manage to punch the evil rabbits to death, and then I was able to grab my items and get back to exploring. We ran into a bit of an issue with food, so I took advantage of the fact that vanilla mobs are neutral and will attack if you hit in order to get a flood of sheep and chickens in one spot for the slaughter. It worked out pretty well and actually gave me a little bit of XP. I popped the levels into the magic skill, and then Cream and I went to check out this weird structure that we spotted in the distance. We ran into it, and I actually wound up offering my friend one free teleport to me so that she wasn't just miserable for her early game. Like I said earlier, it's important to me that my friends enjoy playing too, and I don't mind using commands or other things for them if it makes that possible. On the topic, I think people need to stop judging how other people play Minecraft in general. It's a sandbox game. I don't like using keep inventory or commands for myself, and I enjoy the challenge a pack like RLCraft offers, but a lot of people don't, and that's completely okay. What I'm saying is, basically don't be ashamed to play Minecraft the way you like it, whatever that means for you. Anyway, that tower kind of sucked and didn't really have anything in it, so we went back down and I slept at the base of the tower, and then we continued our XP and loot grind, which means for me, looking through various structures and prioritizing breaking spawners over anything else. I can't really do much damage to mobs yet, so in my opinion, it's better to go about it this way without ever risking a blighted or infernal mob spawning out of the spawner and murdering me. And when I found a waystone, I used it to teleport home so I could get some water and get a quick reset in overall.
Now that I have a...
You'll never catch me alive.
Actually...
I can't
any
use ender pearls.
sleepers
Never
tonight?
mind. Oh, that's in
I
the
could
cards
sleep. I'm not
in
going
a
to, though.
second. Tuck my
Bugs,
winner.
put them in sleepy time.
Put these sleepers in jail.
And once I was ready, I teleported back out to continue my adventure. Unfortunately, I encountered a structure that wound up making this little stroll away from the base a bit short-lived.
Pretending to be like his dad.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
What happened?
Cosmo fell into a trap and there was like...
Dude, I accidentally stumbled into the base of Zeus himself. Oh my god.
Well, I retrieved my items thankfully with no issues, though with the witches being down there, that could have easily gone wrong in a dozen different ways. Witches are up there as one of the deadliest vanilla mobs in RLCraft in my opinion, and mainly for a couple like potion effects that they can hit you with, like spinning, which will make you just spin in circles uncontrollably, and then that other one, I forget what it's called, but it like reverses and inverts all of your controls. Either way, exploring continued, and we came across this structure which leads down into one of these kind of maze-like dungeons. Normally it can be great for XP while being less of a risk early game. Since this one also happened to generate inside of a giant cave, we opted to grab a spawner and some of the loot and dip out. The trade-off for the loot wasn't worth the risk of losing everything to a Gru or a Spectre. If you don't know what those are, they're elemental mobs from the Lycanites mobs mod that spawn in dark caves and are very, very lethal to players. Grus can teleport and are invisible aside from particles when they're in the dark, and Spectres can pull you toward them and severely inhibit your movement. Not only are they a danger in an open cave like that, but chupacabras, ramens, and darklings are also something to worry about, so we left and kept exploring. Eventually, we noticed a village in the distance. Villages are pretty much a guaranteed waystone, which always makes them worth visiting. This one had a blacksmith, luckily, so I swapped my chest plate for an iron one. I mean, to be honest, editing down early RLCraft is so hard for me because normally I like to edit my stuff so someone who's never played the mod pack could use it to learn some stuff if need be. But I've been playing RLCraft for so many years that it's genuinely hard to pace this video. This is meant to be the get starting video, so I guess I think I'm doing fine. A lot of people don't even know where to start with this mod pack, and truth be told, the best piece of advice I can give you if you're a new player is that if it looks like it can kill you, it will. Oh, and things will feel very random at first, but only a select few events are truly random, and you are almost always the problem even if you don't know it yet. Knowledge is power, and this pack is an excellent example of that. Just like the subscribe button is an excellent example of a button you should click. Great segue, right? If you made it this far and are enjoying the video, you should like and subscribe with notifs on to get notified of when the next episodes drop. I also have a Discord and a Twitch if you want to check me out on other platforms, and if you want to support me further, you can join as a channel member. Channel members get access to videos early and their names on the end card. Of course, it's not necessary, but it's greatly appreciated. Anyway, I went back to the outpost we were pretty much calling home at this point and moved some chests into the basement so we could get some storage going. This pack is also loot goblin heaven in a lot of ways, so yeah. Our inventories were pretty much always packed to the brim with random stuff, and getting something down to deal with that would be pretty important. So I yoinked all the chests from the upper levels and got that set up, and didn't waste any time with setting my spawn point here. Waystones forcibly set your spawn whenever you use them, which is great in some ways, but right now would be mostly a hindrance. And I was making myself some purified water when I went to remove this candle holder, and I realized it led to a hidden area. Yeah, I've been playing this mod pack since 2019, have looted the structure a dozen times, and didn't know there was a hidden enchanting room that, by the way, had XP tomes in it. The more you know. This room was super fun to find, actually such a creative little entrance I would have never even thought to look for. XP tomes are fantastic for storing experience, so that's exactly what I did. And then it was back to handling inventory and making sure everything was sorted properly before I made some new tools. I wanted to swap from the rapier to the saber, and oh, that one sucked, but I made a second one and that one was fine. I also opted to spend my levels sinking a bunch into attack to get it to level 8 and allow me to use iron weapons, some more into magic to get that to level 8 as well, which means I can use a summoning staff, and then the rest went into mining and then agility. The summoning staff is a super important item from Lycanite's mobs that allows us to summon certain mobs as temporary minions to help us fight through dungeons. In the past, one of the best summons was the Aegis, and they're still pretty great. They're still very good, really, but with the normal staff you can only get 2 at a time, which isn't as great. Plus, you now have to have your knowledge of whatever mob you want to summon up to rank 2, which can be done by studying them using a soul gazer or by killing them enough times. In our case, a soul gazer is the better option, especially if we want to use Aegises anyway, which I wanted to do, but with the pink staff instead later down the line. And the pink staff, which I forget exactly what it's called, but it summons double the minions at the cost of half of their normal health. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. So for the time being, I just sat around the outpost so I could repeatedly soul gaze the Aegises before they all despawned. The villagers would most likely die to other circumstances, as a lot of Lycanite mobs are hostile toward them as well, and once they were gone the Aegises would be too, since they spawned in to protect the villagers. And just like that, I had them as a summon if I needed them. After sleeping through the night, I set off on another mission, this time focused more on exploring the area around the outpost. I spotted a village on the ice, and not just one of those ice and fire ones, but an actual one, and it was next to some sort of ice battle tower. I grabbed the armor from the blacksmith and swapped all of my chainmail for iron, and then, well, of course I went to go check out that battle tower, but I was a bit too scared to go further down and just iron to your armor, so I just snagged the top 2 spawners for the XP and sank the levels into mining. But I couldn't get quite up to level 8 unfortunately, and got stuck on level 7. Then I did get a little greedy and grabbed another spawner, but then I went and sorted my loot a bit so I could check out the rest of the village. Specifically, I wanted to focus on looting this building since I knew it had a bunch of equipment, several armor sets, and some pet armor. Dude, sign me up, that smelts down into so many ores. So I fed all of it to my furnaces the second I got back to base, which was a lot of waiting unfortunately, but my friend Rivaled was there, and oh, something super important to note, atlases are essential in this mod pack. They are your minimap, but the best thing about them is you can sync them with other players, meaning you and your friends can catalog stuff pretty efficiently. Plus, if you die with the atlas, it makes a marker and your friends can help save you. And then once that was done, it was time for some more serious exploration. Thankfully, it didn't take that long for me to find an actual battle tower, which I have the perfect rat strategy for. Side note, look at the generation of this biome. That's genuinely so cool. Anyway, the easiest way to do a battle tower in early game, in my opinion, is to go up the side of it that has the mob spawners and break the spawners from the outside, killing mobs that get in your way and taking the loot from the chests in the process. This is a great way to get Bezors, which are a bauble that make you immune to poison, as long as you focus on killing some of the poison spiders. This can backfire if you're not careful, especially with mining zombies, baby zombies, blighted mobs, and infernal mobs, so be careful and hope the odds are ever in your favor. I stopped looting this tower because my friend Ambrosia found it as well, so I was gonna leave it for her to loot, and because I was overheating and starting to take hypothermia damage. So I ran to a nearby snowy biome and wandered around, seeing some interesting structures, but more importantly, focusing in on looting this one that I thought looked really cool and smelting all of the stuff down so I could carry more. Once that was done, I popped a recall potion to head home and deposit all the loot in the chest under the outpost, just so I could go back again and continue my exploration and grind for levels, which turned into me finding yet another village, which happened to have a dragon, just chilling, sleeping down there. Honestly, bro, I was not gonna wake him up. I was too intimidated. I'm out here in iron armor. I'm not gonna wake up a goddamn lightning dragon. So I kept walking and walking and walking until I came across this structure, which is a Lycanite dungeon if you're unfamiliar. Basically, these things contain a boatload of spawners, loot, and some mini bosses, which is where those random boss bars come from. If you're exploring and you don't see any structures, it's because there's a Lycanite dungeon somewhere nearby. The catch is that all of the mobs are Lycanite mobs, which are incredibly lethal. Their attacks will ignore your armor points, and because of that, this dungeon is very dangerous to tackle at any point in RLCraft, unless you're me and you're the ultimate dungeon rat strategist. And this strategy works for early game if you want to get the loot and some of the XP from a Lycanite dungeon, but would prefer to do so without dying a bajillion times. Though I will note, some mobs like Ramens and Darklings can fit under these slabs, and in that case, you should switch to stairs, or if you have another mob that's on the small side that's aggressive, switch to stairs just so they can't get through the blocks. And some projectiles also go through the slabs, so keep that in mind.
I think my most ridiculous looting moment in RLCraft was when I completed a battle tower and I proceeded to strip it of its torches.
I mean, to be fair, the torches are valuable because they don't ever turn off.
But I did wind up heading home before I completed the first room fully because of how much stuff I had in my backpack, and so I could get some more healing supplies. It's not a damage-proof strategy, it's more a damage mitigating strategy, though I bet with some invis pots it could work to avoid damage pretty well. Once I got back to base, I sorted my loot out, popped the XP tome, and was able to get defense up to 14, which means we're only 2 levels away from diamond armor. Huge upgrade. And though I was reliant on the recall potions, I wanted to eventually get magic up to level 32 so I could use the mirrors instead. The mirror functions in the same way as the recall potion, but it's reusable, and that's the big major difference. Because I wanted to go out exploring and checking out the deserts, I went out to get some ice so I could make armor that wouldn't make me overheat in the deserts, and I had some more friends get on. Matt and Amaris are very much so cozy pack type people, so I offered them a teleport so they'd have an easier starting point, and I took them to the outpost. Now this wouldn't be super important or notable to the narrative of this video in most circumstances, but trust me, it is, especially as we start getting to the ending. So I explained the basics of the pack and made my ice armor before deciding to log out for the night, leaving the others to continue playing if they wanted. And well, when I logged back in, I went upstairs and noticed a lot of Lycanite mobs outside, specifically a lot of very, very fiery ones right outside of my very flammable wooden house.
Nah. I really don't want to trigger an Argus, but I feel like I'm gonna trigger an Argus. No. Shh. Oh my god. Okay, so I guess we're turning this into a little bunker. Because that's unfortunate. No.
So I'm not pointing fingers at anyone because it could have been a lot of people, but I think a Lycanite event triggered while other people were in my outpost and they disconnected, meaning that when I was the next person to log in, I was the one that wound up witnessing the outpost burn down. So much for being determined to not cave base this time around. Well, given the state the fire left the house in, it was clear I needed to move, but where can I go from here? This could be a major setback depending on how I deal with it, especially with the extreme temperatures this biome reaches. But because the people demand a series, I'm ending the first episode here because it's a cliffhanger and I'm evil. Anyway, thank you for watching. I expect to get videos on this series out weekly if things go well, and you guys should also be seeing episode 2 on Abyssal Ascent soon as well. Frankly, I've been struggling to get myself to edit for a while now, and this video is the first one I've worked on in my editing program that was for my channel in almost a month. I also have some reviews that should drop soon. I think Liminal Industries will probably be the first one to come out, but there should be a Dregora one that also drops that will be separate from this series. It's just like a mod pack review, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff, so it's coming soon. You guys will be eating good content-wise soon. Thank you for all your support, especially to everybody that is on screen right now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!